to my principal because he is he's a wonderful guy. I was telling him in the car, I'm not getting a bonus out of saying this because we're all unionized, but he really is an amazing guy and one of the smartest people I've ever had the opportunity to work with, and I cherish every day that I get to come to High School of American Studies. Thank you so much.
Our seventh and final winner is a biology and research teacher at Bronx Science, and I'd like us to recognize Valerie Reedy, the principal, and Jean Donahue, the assistant principal for biology.
I would like for students to remember me for how I equipped them to become scholars, to become critics, to become consumers, to become citizens. Learning isn't done in a vacuum.
Richard Lee is a person that is able to reach out to other people and get them to see the beauty of the world around them, the beauty of science. And the fact that he's multifaceted and multi-talented allows him to spiral in information in mathematics and in chemistry and in biology. And so he understands that a student's potential could be limitless.
What makes Richard Lee such a good teacher? He inspires his students. And he inspires students whether he's talking about students that are his research students who are doing independent research projects that he's guiding them through, or you're talking about freshman students. As a matter of fact, he insists on teaching a freshman biology class because he feels that's where he sets the foundation for these students, to engage them in science, to engage them in the scientific process, to sharpen their critical thinking skills.
Research came pretty late in my life. I was invited to do a program at Rockefeller some 16, 17 years ago. And I fell in love with research. And it just happened I was starting my tenure as a projects teacher. So some time later, it took me a little while to decide that I should go for a doctorate. And went to Albert Einstein. There was a point at which they made a demand that I either be full-time here or full-time there. Well, it's hard. It was a very hard decision to make. One very recent exciting piece of news is the graduation of a Bronx girl. She's not a girl anymore, she's a woman. She was from the inner Bronx, and I thought, gee, wouldn't it be great if she did projects? So I pulled her aside. I said, you know, you're pretty smart. Why don't you do projects? Oh, not me, Mr. Lee. Well, I said, try it. You know, you're not committed to a lifetime of research. Just try honors chem and see how you like it. Eventually, she became a projects student. She worked with some fancy enzyme, which brought her a semi-finalist mention in Science Talent Search. She then went to Yale as an undergrad, and then went on to Harvard grad school. She just graduated. So about a month ago, I got this dissertation bound and all, and inside of it was the acknowledgments page. Somewhere in there was the statement, if it weren't for you, Mr. Lee, I would have never pursued a research career. Students would often come back and say, wow, you know, that was a great experience, but never in print in a dissertation. That was one of my most proudest moments.
Mr. Lee's own mentor actually is in the audience. He's Tom Haynes, and he's in our biochemistry program. The presenter is an old friend, Ruth Stark. Dr. Stark is Distinguished Professor of Chemistry at City College and is on the CUNY Graduate Center doctoral faculty in chemistry, biochemistry, and biology. Her professional interests include molecular biophysics of fatty acid transport, structure and development of protective plant polymers, and MMR spectroscopy. Her interest in interdisciplinary molecular studies is reflected in her work with the New CUNY Institute for Macromolecular Assemblies and in her participation as a PI at the New York Structural Biology Center on the City College campus. The 14-person research team led by Dr. Stark includes senior research fellows, postdoctoral associates, PhD and MS students, undergraduate chemistry and biology students, and a high school student. Dr. Stark has a BA from Cornell and a PhD from the University of California, San Diego. Her several awards include an NIH Research Career Development Award, a CUNY Faculty Performance Excellence Award, and an IBM Predoctoral Fellowship, and the College of Staten Island Dolphin Award for Scholarly Achievement.
Well, you've waited a long time and been very patient, and I am delighted to be presenting this award, particularly as a faculty member at City College, where Richard Lee, the awardee, got his undergraduate education and was, as Professor Weinbaum mentioned, himself inspired by a teacher of organic chemistry and biochemistry who brought him through those challenging subjects. And in turn, Richard Lee, as you heard and as many of you know, and we on the committee are honored to know, has inspired and brought out the best in his students at every level at the Bronx High School for Science. We are given to understand that Mr. Lee eats, breathes, and just lives the students of Bronx Science 24/7, and he does indeed inspire us. So it is my pleasure and honor to present this award on behalf of the Sloan Awards panel, the Fund for the City of New York, and I am very pleased to do this on behalf of the Sloan Foundation. Richard Lee.
Put the check away first. Okay, it's really exciting to be here. I had no idea my work had such an impact. I've worked for 20 years, some years in an inner city school and the bulk of it at Bronx Science, but in all these years, I've learned one thing about how to teach. It's not about memorizing everything and hoping you can spit it all back at them the next day. It's about being real. You want to show them you're interested. You want to show them you're concerned. You also want to show them that they're people. So for most people, they're pretty much poker face. They get their 45 minutes and they go. And, all right, fine. You do well in exams, great. There are other people who need help, and they're only here once. What you make of that moment with them, it's just a short interval. Can either break or make their experience. I've had a number of bad experiences in high school, baby chem included, and it took me years to get out of it. And what I do now, I tutor the chemistry because it's such a beautiful logic structure. The principal may have mentioned in the video about chemistry and math. There's a good part of it there. But every chapter is linked to some other chapter. And that's what I really like about chemistry. Anyway, there are a lot of people to thank. There's some people in the room, some from the past, some from the present. Miss Mirsky, where are you? Miss Mirsky, stand up.